welcome to Trashy, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and a look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erika, and I'm your host.
My name is Cassandra, and I'm your other host. Hello, and welcome to our show. And yeah.
Welcome to our show. I just sent you a funny text, I think, a Reddit clip.
You think it was funny, or you think you texted it to me?
Ooh, you know what? This is philosophical at this point.
Was it the Panic at the Disco thing?
Yes.
I got that. You know what was crazy? So we'll explain the text, and then I'll give my opinion about it.
It was from the Reddit wedding shaming community. So this is where people come on, they tell stories about trashy weddings, shaming other people's weddings, things they've done at weddings that they're like, I can't believe I did this. It's just a forum for that type of expression, right? So there was a post about, it says, the audacity of this man to crash a wedding with an entire circus in tow and then call the bride a whore. And then it's images from My Chemical Romance's.
No.
Oh, no, it's not?
Panic at the... Don't you come at me about these emo bands, because you're wrong. It was Panic at the Discos.
Oh, are you sure?
Am I sure? Girl, I'm more confident that that's Panic at the Disco than I'm confident on my own middle name.
All right. Anyway, it's the, this bride is a whore. I chimed in with, why haven't you ever heard of? Really fun stuff. And I was like, yeah.
I write sins, not tragedies is
Thank you.
The name of the song. It's a funny little meme.
It's a funny little meme.
If you know the music video. My issue with that song, I wasn't a big Panic at the Disco fan.
Okay.
But I do know them better than I know myself. And when I think about those song lyrics, I chime in, haven't you people ever heard of Closing the Goddamn Door?
Yes.
From the context of the song, and certainly from the video, I don't believe that he was even a guest. In fact, let me just look this up really.
Yeah, it seems like he completely crashed the wedding.
Oh, well, imagine, as I'm pacing the pews in a church corridor, I can't help but to hear an exchanging of words. So he was just at this church for whatever reason. Hears people say, what a beautiful wedding, says the bridesmaid to a waiter. And yes, but what a shame. What a shame the poor groom's bride is a whore. So the basis of the song is that the bride was hooking up with like a groomsman or something in a different room. And so then he says, I chime in with, haven't you people ever heard of Closing the Goddamn Door? No, it's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poise and rationality. I just feel like no one good ever has anything to say when they refer to themselves as, if I could just chime in here,
Yeah.
I chime in, and you're like, no, no one who's ever part of a conversation chimes in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like super condescending. I'm in a wedding where, two people's lives are being destroyed, potentially 3, potentially the whole families. And then I chime in, well, haven't you people ever heard of Closing the Door? Like, sir, get out of here. Nobody knows you. Who's a friend are you?
Are you just a caterer? What are you doing? Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm a chimer-inner, and I don't like that about myself. For instance, Saturday. We're going to a party. I'm dressed. For one time, Winston is dressed before me. It's a theme that I'm always ready earlier. He says, I'm going to go get the car. Great. So I'm standing on the sidewalk waiting for him to pull the car around like a gentleman. And there's 2 people in my neighborhood, my neighbors, I assume. I don't know. I know no one's name in my building.
It's LA. If you know your neighbors' names, you're weird.
Right? So these 2 people are standing on the sidewalk and they're discussing. And it's somewhat of a graphic nature about sex and things like this. But then, and I'm trying to just like be chill and cool and not listen. But you can't. You're right next to them. And they're just, like Toddy Westbrook talking about sucking dick and cock kind of thing. So I'm sitting there.
Okay.
And then one of them says, I don't like blank about this person. They always make things very racial or this. And they're like, well, here's what I'm talking about. And then they give a couple examples of this person. And I'm like, yeah, that does not sound like a good person in my head, of course. And he's like, am I crazy? Like, he gives 3 solid examples of this other person in their friend group. And the girl's like, I don't know. And then, of course, me, I go, Listen, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to eavesdrop. I'm just here 2 feet away from you. But that does sound like that to me. I mean, again, I don't know these players or the people, but from what you've said, that's how I would interpret it. And he's like, thank you. And so we had a moment. By that time, Winston has pulled up. I'm like, have a good evening. Get in the car. And Winston's like, what were you talking to those strangers about? And I'm like, oh, well, we weren't in a conversation together. I chimed in. And he's like, God damn it, Erika. God damn it.
Do you know what I liked best about that story?
Mm-hmm.
Is that you didn't need to talk about how they were having explicit blowjob conversation because that ended up being not what you chimed in about. You could have literally started that story with, my neighbors were discussing another person trying to decide if they were racist, and someone offered 3 examples, and then I chimed in. But you said, these people were talking about sucking and fucking, and then somehow their conversation segued into whether or not their friend was racist.
I don't know if I would have necessarily tuned in had I not heard the S and then the F in first, you know?
Oh, you think you're better than me?
No.
The S and the F in? Yeah, you can't say suck. You can't say talk about sucking and fucking. Huh? You can't suck and fuck.
They were just in a big old pile of fuck, and I'm sitting there, and I go, "Well, hey, I got something to say about this." It was one of those moments where I was like, I didn't have to chime in, but I felt like that person needed the validation to say, "I think this person's shitty and racist," and I was like, as the judge and jury, let me help you weigh in on this. Like,
as someone with only one half of a story about a person I don't know, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Hey, Erika.
Yes.
Who cares? Why are you trash? You suck fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I don't think you're a suck fuck.
It's okay. I understand. So I don't know if the listeners are aware, but I have big old boobies.
Yeah, I think they know by now.
I've always had big boobs since I was like starting in 3rd grade. I was getting boobs, and it was like, we got to get her some bras. I didn't even do training bras. Like, there was no like training. It was like nothing to, we're going to have to take you to the,
you right in the game.
Right in the game. Industrial sized, let's go bras.
Which
so
every middle school girl wants. Oh, how thick are the straps? Awesome. This looks exactly like what my grandma wears. Cool. This is going to be okay.
This is a side story to the story I'm telling. One time in college in Oklahoma City, I was doing this organization, and I'm getting up to speak because that's my job. You know, that's the thing. I'm getting up to speak, and all of a sudden, it's as if, you know, in a disaster movie when the wires of a bridge, one just like swings up and breaks.
Yeah.
My bra strap just goes, starts to do that like disaster movie,
God.
So one bra, now I got like one supported tit, left tit's up, right tit's just freewheeling it. And so I immediately do the thing where I put my full arm underneath all of my chest and then put the other arm over me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm there for a week. I don't have, so my grandmother, my Nana, lived in that town as well. So I had to call her and I was like, Nana, I'm so sorry. Can you please go buy me a bra? And she goes, okay, of course. What size do you wear? And I tell her. And she goes, oh, that's my size. I'll just bring you one of my bras.
Oh, gosh.
So my grandma brings me a bra. Anyway, that's a side story to what I'm talking. So sports bras have always given like that illusion of control. I don't know why they have adjustable straps. It's like we don't want them to bounce and move. But I've been trying on some different types of swimsuits this summer. And recently,
I have one in the house, by the way.
Yes, you do.
Back to.
Yes, you do. And I had to be cut out of that swimsuit because I hadn't tried this one on yet. I go swimming at Cassandra's house. Lovely Cassandra invites me over to a pool day. I realized that, oh no, my bosom's still a little too heavy for this one. And I asked Cassandra, I go, do you have any zip ties? And she's like,
is this why you're trash? I'm
yes.
Part of the story? Oh my God.
I zip tied the straps at my back, like at the back of my neck, so that the bosoms would not be heaving over or riding too low. Just an industrial size zip tie. And then there it was, just on the back of my neck, just sticking out. And so then at the end, when I go to change and left said swimsuit there, I realized I can't get out of this thing with it zip tied at my neck in the straps. So I asked you to cut me out of it.
Had to cut you out of it.
She had to cut me out of the swimsuit. One time I broke my bra. My grandmother had to bring me one of her bras, and then I had to be zip tied into a swimsuit this summer. Not when I was a child. No, mid-30s. Zip tied into a bra. That's me.
I have big boobs too, and I've had them forever, and so I feel that pain, which is why when you asked me to zip tie you in it, I was like, is this going to hurt your neck? Because I feel like it would hurt my neck, but you were fine. But I just remember wanting, remember when we were teenagers, like there was nothing better than those like baby pink with polka dot bras from Victoria's Secret, like the pink, the teenage, because teenagers need lingerie. I wanted, they claim it was for college kids, like sure, Jan, and so are cigarettes. But I wanted those so bad, and I just like I didn't have the frame for them, and I thought that was so late. And once I had like my own money to make those kinds of purchases on my own, they were like, oh, the pink brand stops at a C cup. Yes.
It didn't go like, even to D.
It's like, are you fucking kidding? So they're like, you're welcome to go over and like, try the other brand, which then went up to double D, and it was like, they didn't have it figured. Like, if you want to have sexy boobs, you have to have small boobs, even though we're all taught that big sexy boobs, but that's not actually true. It's small sexy boobs, and if you have big ones, they need to like get you kind of like, when you're strapping things in the back of a truck and you have to use like that
the cranks, kind of harness
click,
levers,
click, click. Yeah, so like that's what they were doing to girls like me in the back of Victoria's Secret. They were like, we'll get you into this thing, and like had to use like they had to tighten it with some pliers. Like it was like a whole
just a straight jacket for your boobies. 9 straps and hooks.
Essentially, that is kind of the vibe when you have larger boobs, especially in that day and age when to carry extra weight was disgusting unless the weight was made of silicone.
Yes. So, back in those days, you were to look like a popsicle. You're supposed to be so skinny, a little bit of boob that gave the illusion of big boobs because you were so tiny, and then a big head. Bra. You get the push-up bra.
Yeah,
and it was so
C cups. They'll push them up to your neck,
to your fucking neck. Pink was for children, and then Victoria's Secrets was like BDSM, like regular print. Like there was middle ground. Like, can I just get a nice underwire, simple T-shirt bra? That just didn't exist.
Sure. Maybe try Lane Bryant. It's like, I'd rather jump off the roof than go to Lane Bryant. Are you kidding me?
Oh, God.
But, yeah.
Big boob problems. Yeah.
They got better brands for us now, but
I
tell you what, you're paying for it. That's for sure.
Oh, baby. I'm putting, like, Joe Biden's infrastructure bill is the type of budgeting I'm putting in for good bras now. Yeah. I'm like, these roads and bridges have been worn through. They haven't been lifted since the 80s. We got to really invest in. No, okay. All right. Why are you trash?
They work on me, nights and weekends to like just make sure that it doesn't stop the slow traffic. But that's I usually got a couple guys kind of just like smoking cigarettes on my
off
shoulder.
To the side looking.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one guy on my left shoulder who's got a sign that says stop and slow. And then the other guys are on my other shoulder. Taking a break. This project will probably take about 4 years. That's the kind of work that's going on with me.
Meanwhile, in China, they can put up a new bridge in a weekend. Like a 4-mile bridge in a weekend.
Well, babe, I got union workers here.
Okay? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
This is what I got. I got union workers. I can't make them go past the breaks. I mean, God bless them. They got families to feed.
Why are you trash?
I I think I picked this up from my mother, but because I just felt like she had this kind of nervous energy and did this. But like I do it now too, where I just love to rearrange furniture as if it's going to fix all my problems. And so we've been doing a lot of rearranging lately. You know, we're trying to make the space in our condo kind of work better for a few different reasons. And just a lot of rearranging has been happening in the house. And boy, do I have opinions, big opinions. You know, I have a hard hat on and I'm pointing and, you know, doing whatever I can. And I'm making the purchases of like, we need to buy this and this and this, such gusto, whatever. But as soon as these new products arrive, like we've been to IKEA a lot lately because IKEA is like the master place to go if you're like, I have a small apartment and I need to get the most out of it. Like you go to IKEA. So as soon as we get these purchases and they arrive at our house or, you know, whatever, or I have my master plan of how I want everything to be moved and I get Taylor on board, it's as if like my limbs have stopped working and I'm like, I'm gonna need you to build that.
Well, you're union. That's his designation. You can't be doing somebody else's job.
I mean, that's, I think, what I'm going to have to start saying because it really is like, I'm just like approaching this at like a 10. And then as soon as the hard work has to stop, it's like, or start, I'm like, well, I didn't sleep very good last night and I have been a little hungry, but you know, we can't just have this big box in the middle of the room. So yeah. I guess you'll have to build it. And like before, I used to at least be like, I'll read the instructions for you. I haven't even been reading the instructions. He is doing this absolutely 100% on his own. And now I'm starting to like understand how to become a billionaire.
Yeah, you exploit other people's labor.
Yes, and I'm exploiting my husband's labor right now. And I gotta say, it feels good.
Well, speaking of billionaires, and Google's worth like how many $1 trillion?
They're doing all right.
They're doing okay. But that brings us to our first story about
oh my god,
a Florida man and Google.
Wow.
From longcrime.com. Florida man driving Google mapping car leads officers on 100+ miles per hour chase before crashing into creek.
Ooh, you know I love a police chase, girl. You know I love it.
I like this one the most because it's got those mapping cameras on it. So someone's roadside view when you're like, I wonder what that rural district of Florida looks like or Michigan. It's going to have 8 police cars flanked on either side of the road.
Yeah, if you've never seen one of those like Google mapping cars before, just imagine like your average kind of Kia sedan or like crossover vehicle just with maybe 6 or so cameras on top of it, getting you those wonderful Google Street views, and they just sort of have to drive around literally everywhere and be contract working cartographers, basically. And so one of these guys found himself, in a car chase, and I don't know what he did. Oh, I think he ran a red light, and so then they were starting to follow him, but he just refused to stop until he finally drove into a creek, which can't be good for the cameras.
No, those are expensive lenses.
Sure.
Yeah, he was going over 100 miles an hour, passing cars on these rural roads, doing the mapping at the intersection of State Road 109 and US 36. And he's just going crazy. But he said that he stated, I work for Google and I'm scared to stop, which makes me think, Google, what's up? What's up with your labor practices? What's going on? Why is that man scared to stop? Is the car going to zap him or explode? Is this a speed situation? Maybe whoever founded Google put a bomb in the car and was like, you have to maintain this speed at all times. And Dennis Hopper's just back there in the backseat laughing maniacally. You have to maintain this speed at all times. I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of made me sad. Like, because it could have just also been, more likely the situation. Although I do think that you are onto something with this whole speed thing, is this guy was like, I really need this job. And if I get pulled over, Google's not going to let me do this anymore.
Yeah. Ugh, damn. But
you know what? I can't think about this because the next story features me. It's about me. And that's really exciting. I was already brought up in your Why You're Trash, and here it is. I'm the star of the next story, I'm pretty sure. It sounds like they're talking about me, at least.
From UPI.com, sunbathing pig causes highway backup in New Zealand.
I mean, girl, if I ain't a sunbathing pig, what am I?
When'd you go to New Zealand?
Oh, shit, this isn't about me. You're right.
Sorry.
I read that as Burbank.
Yeah, sorry. The words are similar.
Burbank, New Zealand. A pig on the loose for more than 2 weeks in New Zealand has caused delays on major highways Tuesday morning when the police and animal control attempted to capture this slippery swine.
New Zealand, God bless you. You're just sweet and adorable. And the fact that this pig has been an outlaw for 2 weeks, like you're a small enough and like civilized enough and great enough nation where this is the havoc that causes, like nothing else. Like there's no other crime that this is like we got to get him. The one pig on the island is loose. This is beautiful.
It's also so sweet. Just imagine that you're spending the last 2 weeks chasing this pig. You know, you got up this morning at 5 a.m. and your wife's like, honey, did you even sleep last night? No. Just tossing and turn. Wait, hold on. This is New Zealand.
Yeah.
Nor. I was tossing and turning. Wait, that got Irish. Thinking about that pig. And then you're just driving, you're doing your route, and you see your culprit sunbathing in the bush. Just like flaunting it.
Rubbing it in.
Yeah.
Like a pig in the mud, just rubbing it in. You know, pigs sunbathe in mud because they don't have any, they like humans have melanated skin and they can get sunburns really easy. So that's why they bathe in the mud. So anyway.
I didn't know that, but it makes sense. You know what doesn't make sense?
What?
When people spoil stuff.
Oh, I hate it. I hate that.
From NewYorkPost.com, Antarctica scientists stabbed colleague for spoiling book endings. I don't know, like there's two sides to every story and you don't have a lot to do in Antarctica, so like maybe this was like justified.
There is a point where you cannot evacuate from Antarctica. There's like I think it's a 6-month window where it's basically nothing can come in or out. So you're stuck with whoever's there. And I'll be goddamned. If you were a movie, okay, I get it. Maybe The Sixth Sense would have been the one that's like, oh, don't ruin it for me. But if you ruin the ending of a book, there's something nostalgic about that where I'm mad about that. And yeah, this Russian scientist snapped because his colleague continued to give away the endings of book. It must have happened. Here's what I propose. The colleague did it accidentally one time. And he saw what a rise it gave this guy.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, no, I'm bored as hell because it's Antarctica and snowing. I'm going to keep this going.
Yeah. This guy is like, has a knife chasing this other guy around being like, you're telling me that Beth fucking dies? You know? Look, what's crazy about this is that it's the first attempted murder ever on Antarctica. So this is one for history.
Wow. It was a kitchen knife. Yes, obviously, any knife can kill someone. But a kitchen knife in Antarctica probably used a lot. They don't have a ton of supplies probably in these stations. So I'm sure it was used a lot. Maybe somewhat dulled. I feel like this was a warning shot. Although it did wound part of his heart. So I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not defending. I'm just saying it feels like it was more of a, hey man, knock it off rather than I'm trying to kill you.
If you got a little bit of someone's heart, you were aiming for their heart. If you stab someone in the chest, you're probably like this guy had it. He was like, if you say right now how The Shining ends, I'm going to stab you in the heart. And then the guy says it. And then he said, you know what? Here's the kitchen knife. I'm gonna stab you in the heart, and you don't stab the chest if you're not going for that kill shot. You got the chest and the neck seem like the kill shots for a knife, and this is coming from someone who is not giving advice and who has never stabbed someone in my life. I never intend to. I'm just, let me just get ahead about this. The only advice I can maybe give is relationship advice, because I got a pretty good one.
You do. I have a good one. And, this takes place in my home state. Mm-hmm. My home state. From newsbreak.com. Couple gets married at a Tulsa Quick Trip. And the couple that got married at the Dunkin' Donuts is mad. They got upstaged.
But not really. We're making that up.
Yeah. They're probably happy and in love.
They're probably fine. A Quick Trip is a what? Because I've never heard of a Quick Trip.
Oh, okay. A Quick Trip is a convenience store, gas station, but it's so much more.
Not like a ball.
No. It's not a Balls Quick Stop. Okay. Sterling's got balls. It's not a Balls Quick Stop. Quick Trip has actually legitimately good food-ish, the hot bars and sandwiches.
So you're saying that Balls does not have good food?
No. Well, they have a good chicken tender and they make a mean hamburger and
we know
corn
that
dog.
The heir to the Balls fortune listens to Trashy now. So
and
I would just, tread lightly.
I think that the Quick Trip, it's an elevated gas station. They were started in Oklahoma, and that's the only reason they're still in Oklahoma. Mostly I actually got to meet, I think, the founder or the president of the company now, like 15 years ago in school. But it's like their managers make like $120,000, $130,000 a year. And this was like in 2005, 2006 money. Like they really take care of their people as well as like, financially, but it doesn't just have like 4 flavors of Gatorade. It'll have 9 to 15 flavors of Gatorade. It's in everything.
Like a Buc-ee's, like in Texas.
Yeah,
Buc-ee's.
I would say it's like a Buc-ee's. They have really good fountain drinks. It's a special place. Like gas might be like 8 to 15 cents cheaper than the other convenience store, and they're nice. They're always very clean, pristine clean. But they're mostly, I think, in some of the bigger markets like Atlanta and things like that. But they said basically they rationalized. They were like, we're only in Oklahoma because like of the nostalgia. We were formed in Oklahoma. But rather than like dividing ourselves out so thin, we're making more money concentrating in certain areas. And that's why we do X, Y, and Z. Anyway, interesting philosophy, because I was like, have you guys thought about expanding here and there? Because, I'm a little businesswoman. I'm talking to the president of a company or the founder of a company. I can't remember. And I'm like, I'm going to impress them with my little 21-year-old knowledge. And they're like, no, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to give a little talk, Anyway, they were very nice.
More people who own gas stations than anyone else I know, which is like, I feel like if I was to be asked a question in like a board game or something of like, who in this room knows more gas station owners, I think I would know that it was you, but like now it's just being confirmed. Anyways, Mike Kellogg and his girlfriend of 10 years, Stephanie, woke up on Friday morning knowing that it was time. He said, as far as I was concerned, we were married quite some time ago. Classic men.
I was going to say, she don't think y'all were married
like
quite some time ago.
I hear that stuff.
Yeah.
Like unmarried men who have been in the same relationship for a decade who finally get married and they're like, well, I mean, that's my wife. It's like, no, sir, that actually isn't your wife. If it was your wife, you would have been married a long ass time ago, but that's fine.
Its slogan is more than a gas station, and now it's a wedding chapel. They first planned to elope at the Tulsa County Courthouse, but they said they learned that the courthouse stopped doing weddings last month, and so they said, you know what, baby? We're going to go to the Hitching Post in Claremore. And it's a same-day wedding chapel, and they decided just to go ahead and do it at the Quick Trip, their favorite little store.
It's nice. It was a 10-minute ceremony. Some might say a Quick Trip ceremony. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to have another proper wedding later, but it's sweet.
It's sweet.
I like it.
Yeah. Speaking of Quick Trip, why don't we take a quick break for a word from one of our sponsors?
That's a good idea.
And we're back. During the break, I picked up a pen on the desk where I'm recording just to jot down a quick note I wanted to remember for later. And I read the pen and it says Hanson Mortuaries, Valley-wide. And it's a Arizona mortuary that unfortunately Winston and I's family have become very acquainted with, as we've had 3 funerals and services with them. And I'm looking at this pen and I realize that this is probably one of 9 pens I have from them, as well as if I offer you a tissue, there is a 88% chance it is from Hanson's Mortuary. These sweet people have taken care of, our beloved dead ones, but I have just robbed them blind. Anytime they leave a pin on a pew, or there's tons of tissues on every seat. At the end of it, I'm like,
your money's worth.
I'm grabbing them, and Winston, of course, is mortified. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "We paid for this. Like, what? They're just going to reuse them for another family. These are our grief tissues." Like, just robbing this mortuary blind while they take care of our beloved. That's why I'm trash.
Would you say that one person's trash is one person's treasure?
I would say that. I am a treasure. You're right.
I was trying to segue into this story about sex dolls, but I do think that you're a treasure, so I'm going to let that go.
From dailystar.co.uk, I found 6 sex dolls in a bin, and now I boink them with my girlfriend.
So this guy finds 6 abandoned sex dolls. How do you know they were abandoned? In a bin outside of a warehouse, and he wasn't sure about showing them to his girlfriend, but she did say that getting one was on her bucket list.
Yeah, this abandoned thing is making me question. I'm like, maybe they were just having an orgy in a trash bin and you interrupted it and stole them.
It is like, see, it's the trash can thing that's really getting to me too. He says that he was out skateboarding when he saw a bunch of large boxes sticking out of a dumpster, and he wanted to find out what they were. But my thing is, what? You're just out skateboarding and then you just decided to do some dumpster dive. I don't personally pass a particularly full dumpster and wonder what's in the boxes. Is that just me?
Well, you don't have nosy bitchitis. You are not clinically diagnosed with nosy bitchitis, but people like George and I do. It's a clinical diagnosis. So I don't know. Or maybe he's just trying to lie to the newspaper so he doesn't sound like a complete fucking freak.
Yeah, or he's trying to lie so that it doesn't sound like he legitimately might have stolen 6 sex dolls that, quote unquote, fell off a truck kind of thing. Yeah. Anyways, he goes to lift one up. They're super heavy. I opened them and I thought, man, they're dolls. So using his skateboard as an improvised trolley to help him manage the weight, he took them home 2 at a time. His favorite is Debbie, who's 5'5" tall and weighs about 100 pounds. And he also has a big titty lady called Megan, who is 160 pounds.
At least.
At least. Yes, of course. At least.
Oh, Megan, she's voluptuous. She's my big titty girl. She's at least 160 pounds, which is 11 stone.
One of the other dolls he found was a, quote, smaller one, but
don't like anything about that. Don't like anything about that.
Apparently, George's girlfriend was delighted when he arrived home. She said, "Oh my God, how did you know?" And they said that they believe that sex dolls can be good for relationships as they're cheating without cheating. And then I'm not trying to kink shame or anything, but I just didn't realize the market for sex dolls until we started doing this podcast. But obviously they exist, but also I just a Russian scientist in Antarctica would have a sex doll to prevent himself from stabbing his coworker. Not just in my mind, but I'm obviously wrong, because also these 2 people willy-nilly can just have sex dolls to a point where they kept the dolls on the couch in the living room,
and people would come over.
Yeah, people would come over and they'd be like, "Oh, that's just the thing that you have sex with. Yeah, that's your sex toy."
Put that away when company's coming. Again, not kink shaming, not any of those things. You do you, as long as it's consensual amongst adults. It doesn't harm anyone, unless that's the purpose. But that's oh, my dildos are sitting on the sink. I just washed them and dried them. We've got company coming over. Like, that's shit you hide.
Yeah. Like, don't mind that big silicone butt drying in my shower.
Yeah.
I just had to wash the cum out of it. But yes, you can use the guest bathroom. You know, that's kind of the vibe. He sold 3 of the dolls already to friends for about $100 each, even though they retail around $1,000.
And he has one fake friend because one of his friends stole another doll.
Just walked right out with it, I guess.
That's a friendship ender. You know, that's something you don't do. It goes against the code. That's just, you know, it's stealing's bad.
Yeah, you can't steal no matter what it is that you're stealing and from whom you're stealing. Stealing is bad.
Yep. Unless it's like baby formula. At that point, you look the other way. You don't say shit.
Well, from Vice.com, there's a court that's ordered these brothers to pay their drug dealer back after robbing him.
Yep. So the men were jailed for stealing cash, meth, and a double-barreled shotgun in what the judge said was certainly not a well-planned robbery.
2 brothers wanted to steal from their drug dealer because they were out of money and crystal meth. And now they owe this guy it comes up to $1,373, $1,373 US.
The Supreme Court of Tasmania heard this case, and they decided to rob a man who had been selling ice, which is what they call crystal meth on the street. I'm streetwise. I know these things.
Of course.
But because they had run out of money in ice. And so, I'm like, just go to the store and get some more ice. But that's not the kind of ice we're talking about. The brothers met the drug dealer at his house around 10 p.m. They arrived. They were invited inside. They had to watch the drug dealer play like 4 hours of video games. No,
that's the rules.
Them's the rules.
Look, I remember when pot started to become legalized, I felt not bad for the drug dealers. Like of course I didn't feel bad for drug dealers necessarily on like them losing that income, you know, because I don't think that you should be a drug dealer, in my opinion. It's my opinion. Do whatever you want, but it's my opinion. But I wasn't sad that they were losing their income, but I was sad that they were going to lose that
friendship and companionship
that they put on people. Because I just remember in like the days when I would smoke weed that it was like, okay, we're going to go get weed from, you know, Twitchy or whomever the drug dealer's name was. And this is going to take an hour or 2. And it's like, why? He lives down the street and this is just a simple transaction.
Yeah.
Well, no, you have to sit down in his house on his like weird like sidewalk couch
or inflatable sofa.
Yeah, it's super dark in there because all the curtains are of course closed.
He owns 4 lizards and 2 snakes.
I was just gonna say you have to meet his iguana. It's always the same. He's going to, you know, like make some sort of complaints about his life, and then you're going to have to get high with him. And he's going to show you this like documentary on Hulu about the band.
R.I.P. Robbie Robertson. He just passed away.
Also, I'm so sorry. That was not historically accurate. There was not Hulu back then. He is going to make you watch a DVD in his PlayStation 2 about the band. And then he's going to ask you if you want to play Crash Bandicoot. And one person in your group is going to fuck up and go, I love Crash Bandicoot. And then you got to tack on another hour. Point is, if you have movie tickets, you can't buy drugs
making
that
the movie.
Day. Yeah, you're not gonna make that movie.
Oh God,
drug dealers are honestly like worse than like grandparents in that way. Like your grandparent is ready for you to get out of the house faster than a drug dealer.
Why? Okay, new proposal. all those lonely drug dealers, why don't we send them to old folks' homes? Like, they need the relief for their pain, and then they both get the companionship and somebody come visits.
Like a drug dealer is kind of like when they bring like a golden retriever in. Or
Yes, it lifts everyone's spirits.
That honestly is not a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, golden retrievers, man's best friend. They're always doing the right thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
Except for kind of in our next story from the NewYorkPost.com, sent in by Tina Curry.
Thanks, Tina.
A burglar takes a break from robbing the home to cozy up with the overly friendly family dog. And he says, I love you too.
This guy shows up. This is in California. And he went to steal a bike from an open garage, but then stopped because there was this golden retriever who came to greet him, not to protect the house, but just to say, hey, what's up?
Yeah, every Rottweiler's like, God damn it, Mike, quit.
You blew that.
You can't lick him. Like, did you show him your teeth? And it's like, no, I rolled over and showed him my belly though, so he would pet it.
Nice.
The unidentified male entered the garage in a San Diego Pacific Beach neighborhood around 10:40 on July 15th, stole the bike, which is an estimated of about $1,300 US. It's a very nice bike. It 8-ball caps on the tire valves. It's like a very distinct black and white checkered pattern. It's an Electra 3-speed bicycle. Like, it's a nice bike. And the dog just was like so sweet, comes up again, gets belly rubs, gets the pets. And the man says to the dog, you're so cool. You're the coolest dog I've ever known. I love you too. You're a sweetheart. What is he, a 19-year-old trying to hook up with a 15-year-old in 2002?
Girl, that was a spicy thing to say. But also, there's nothing grosser than a guy saying, you're a good girl, you're a sweetheart.
Also, there's nothing grosser than a guy saying, where's your dad?
Oh my God. Oh yeah, okay, so the guy tells the dog, how you're the coolest dog I've ever known, and then because like this is all obviously on like a Ring camera, and then calls out like, where's your dad, to the dog. Mm-hmm. And then the owner appears, and then he goes, you shouldn't leave your garage open, and then just mic drops and rides off on this bike.
What an FU. Like, hey, this was I'm a little angel left here on earth to teach you a lesson. Don't leave your garage door open.
I wonder if he was like, hey, don't leave your garage door open. This is a great dog, and it might get out.
Yeah. Bye. Bikes off.
It's so funny. I love it. No one deserves to have your expensive bike stolen, but also don't leave your garage open,
Yeah. That guy's got to really cut out that behavior of leaving his door open like that.
Well, speaking of things that need to get cut out, I think it's time for We Cut That.
And we cut that.
From latbible.com, a man with 2 working penises say women didn't believe him until they saw them.
I feel like that headline tells you all you need to know. You got a guy with two dicks that work. So, yeah.
It's called diphthelia, I guess. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. From TimeMagazine.com, a Japanese city apologizes after giving advice to pregnant women on how to be better to men.
Yeah, because pregnant women really give a shit about how men are feeling.
And to be fair, Japan's birth rate is declining. I feel like this should have been the other way around. Like, hey, men, would you like to have more babies? And, I don't know.
You're absolutely right, Erika. You're absolutely right.
That's just me. That's just me, though. I'm just a practicalist, a visionary, if some might say.
I'm having a vision for another ad.
Oh, wait, I can see it now, too.
Erika, do you have any concerts coming up?
Always. I'm a festival girly, you know. I have to get the VIP, though, because I cannot go without an air-conditioned bathroom.
Okay, well, my sweet angel, planning for faster and efficient hydration is also essential for festivals. And Liquid IV has you covered while you prep before, power through that headliner, and recover after the weekend.
Hey, now don't count yourself out while you're drunk poolside all summer, Cass. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water and with 3 times the electrolytes than traditional sports drinks.
I mean, we really have no excuses. Liquid IV is actually standard in my purse. It goes phone, wallet, keys, Liquid IV.
And with flavors like lemon lime, pastique, that's French for watermelon, and my favorite, strawberry lemonade, staying hydrated is easy peasy.
Mama, I'm talking B3, I'm talking B5, I'm talking B6, and I'm screaming from the rooftops, B12.
They've got all the B's.
And there's a little bit of vitamin C in there too, just for kicks.
Oh, she's made from premium ingredients and is free from gluten, dairy, and soy.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I'm vegan now. I don't know if I've talked about that yet.
We know. Okay. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code TRASHY at checkout.
That's 20% off of anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code TRASHY at liquidiv.com.
Honestly, we're so trashy, we're hydrated.
Wet trash.
And we're back. Welcome back. What?
And we're back. I like it. Keep it. People don't talk like that, but I like it.
But I am theatrically trained, and I needed to bring in anticipation into the episode.
I can't anticipate this enough. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's time for the dumpster fire of the week.
Oh my God.
That's the sound I assume was happening.
This story is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's giving, I think you'd said Farley Brothers movie. I think that was a great way to just put yourself in the 90s kind of coloring of your visualization. You know, we're still on film and it's Dumb and Dumber, a 25-year-old Jim Carrey who hasn't had an existential crisis yet kind of vibe.
Is it preaching against vaccines? From ABC7NewYork.com.
Hawk, as in a hawk, drops 4-foot-long snake on Texas woman, prompting both animals to attack her. So funny.
Peggy Olson's right arm was covered in claw marks.
Peggy Olson is from Mad Men.
Oh. I'm having a Mad Men week.
I get it, girl.
I'll have to tell that story another time. Peggy Jones' right arm was covered in claw marks, lacerations, cuts, and punctures. The snake's squeezes presumably caused bruising.
This was Peggy Jones's no good, very bad day.
Absolutely. This is a upside down school type of story.
This lady was out, in triple digit summer heat doing yard work and just getting cleaned up because she was going to the casino later. She's trying to live her Texas ass life. And all of a sudden, a hawk carrying a snake, just oopsie poops and dropped the snake. Oh, she was riding her lawnmower.
She's riding a lawnmower.
Just the snake hits her, and the snake is like, well, fuck you, lady.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
What are you doing in my way? So it's
just gets pissed and starts wrapping around her arm like, I'm gonna kill you. And then the hawk is like, where'd my snake go? Oh, it's down there. Hey, bitch.
You stole my...
have my snake?
Yeah, why'd you steal my snake?
Just gets her on the other side.
It wouldn't let go, so she's thrusting her arm around, trying to knock the snake off, because there's no... I know a lot of if a bear comes, this is what to do. If you're in quicksand, but no one ever tells you what to do if a snake is dropped. If you walk into a snake den, there's survival guides tell us things to do, but if a snake falls on you. There's not a lot of prep work for that.
I'm seeing the riding lawnmower's gotta be just going in circles while this hawk is trying to rip the snake off of her arm, and the snake won't let go, and the hawk's biting at her.
Striking her face. The snake starts striking her face. Her husband's like, all right, Peggy, you did a bad job the first time. I'll let you be on the riding mower lawn. Normally you're the weed whacker and the leaf cleaner. But today, Peggy, we've been married 45 years on this property that's been in our family since the 1800s. And I'm going to let you do the riding lawnmower. And Peggy's like, oh, thanks, Jim. Love it. And then this happens. Her husband probably sees her and is like, why is she doing figure eights on the goddamn lawnmower? This is why I don't let her ride the lawnmower. This is why. The lawn's never going to recover from this.
She was totally alone because he was working on the front yard. You know, he's letting Peggy do the backyard. He doesn't trust her that much yet. But it's just so insane. I mean, this is she's a grandmother of 4. This is honestly, it's sad. She didn't die or anything.
No, she's fine.
I'm sure she still made it to the casino later.
With a story to tell. She's the goddamn belle of the ball at the casino.
It's just so funny how this woman found herself so much in the wrong place at the wrong time when nature was occurring.
Yes. The hawk probably likes to toy with its food. That's what it's like. Oh, I'm going to drop the snake. Let him think it's getting free. And then just as it's getting away, I'm going to come back down and strike on it, right?
This was not Peggy's fight.
No.
You know?
She brought a butter knife to a machine gun fight.
Oh, man, that's so funny. Okay, what are you hoarding?
Animal control. No. I am hoarding animals.
Oh.
In some way. On Sunday, Winston took me to this sanctuary that's about 30 miles away from Los Angeles, and it's called Animal Tracks. It's a nonprofit, and it's a rescue and a sanctuary for animals that have maybe been purchased or bought that are illegal to own and things like that. So they had a bunch of different monkeys, which you can buy a monkey for about $8,000 in Las Vegas, which I was like, well, that's not that much. It's illegal. But they had kangaroos, they had porcupine, exotic giant porcupines, a different type of armadillo that does not give you leprosy. Well, maybe it does, but not like in Florida, leprosy colony leprosy. But they had all these beautiful, amazing animals that they rescued. They had wolf dog hybrids that people breed, and that's obviously very illegal. What happens with monkeys a lot of times is they're cute. You put them in the diapers. They turn about 3 or 4 and their puberty and hormones start coming in. They let's say bite a kid, and then they're like, oh, we have to put the monkey down now. Well, instead they send him to Animal Tracks. It was a really sweet, cute thing, but the emphasis was conservation. Don't buy these illegal pets. Don't do these things. But every once in a while they'd be like, you can buy a monkey for $8,000 in Las Vegas. And I'm like, do you have the guy's name? Because that sounds horrible. I would hate to know who he was just in case I ever want to buy a monkey, but you're not supposed to. It was just really sweet. And it was just a cute little guided tour. They had misters on. So if you're worried about the heat, they'll keep you cool. It was shaded most of the time. They had exotic birds. They had all these things. They didn't let us touch any of the animals, which is appropriate. However, we got to feed some of them. And we just got to be in the cage with the kangaroos. Wow. They were like, oh, just come on in. And Winston and I are at the front of the line for this particular thing. And we're like, we can go inside. You said we can go inside. We're not crossing over the threshold and going to get yelled at, But it's really sweet. They're a nonprofit. You can donate to them to help keep them in business. They need volunteers 365 days a year and money to keep going to conserve these animals. I will put a link. I'm doing a fundraiser on my personal Instagram, which is Iconic Erika Curry, for Animal Tracks. All of your donations will be tax-free or a tax write-off. It's just a really sweet, nice little thing, and I really appreciate that they do that. And I know I'm not supposed to buy a monkey, but she just kept emphasizing how easy it was to do it. It's like, okay, well, feels like I'm gonna do
like
it.
watching a murder documentary on Netflix. Like,
yeah, it's like
or a hacking documentary or something like that.
It's like, oh, you just use a little JavaScript here. You just enter the mainframe. You hit .NET. And you're like, oh, that seems easy. Anyway, it's really nice. It's called Animal Tracks. It was a really sweet little thing, so I recommend. That's what I'm hoarding. What are you hoarding?
I am hoarding a salad spinner.
Yes.
Dude, salad spinners are large, okay? And so that's why I didn't have one before, because I'm like, that thing is just too big to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then at IKEA, when I was on one of my like tyrant tears about everything that I needed to buy, they had a more medium-sized salad spinner for like $8. And you know, like, I don't know if I've brought this up yet, but I am vegan. And so and so I was like, damn, like, I'm eating a lot of salads. Like, it would be nice to have a salad spinner. So I got one. I can't believe I haven't had one up until this point. It's the game has changed. It's like, this is just absolutely insane. I use less dressing now. My salads, like, we had one right before we started recording, me and Taylor, and we were like, we said, I want to have a salad for every meal. And I said, me too. So if you don't have a salad spinner, you got to get one. And I know that they're big. So if you've got an IKEA near you, $7.99 for like a decent size, like more easily stored salad spinner. Get that lettuce and get that fucking water off of there. It's just crisp, restaurant quality.
Love a crisp.
It's so good. What are you throwing out?
Sponges in the bottom of the sink.
Oh yeah, nasty.
I microwave my sponges for a minute, almost at least 2 to 3 times a week. It's supposed to kill the bacteria in them. You drain the water out of them, drain the soap out of them. Sometimes you leave it on the lip or the ledge or this, that. I bought 2 little things. One is like a little plastic silicone with holes at the bottom container where water can drain. And the other is just a flat, like, little shelf for a sponge. Because we have 2 different types of sponges, 2 different types of dishes. And man, because, we have a rule, no sponges left in the sink, right? Like, that's like a house rule. Yeah. So, we have this rule, but it's sometimes they fall. Sometimes you put something in, it falls. And that drives me crazy. So having these little sponges up off has just changed the game. And I do not like sponges. When I see a sponge in someone's sink, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to eat off these dishes here. But yeah, that's what I'm talking. Sponges at the bottom of the sink, disgusting.
If someone has a dishwasher, I'm not as worried about their sponges. But I understand what you're saying regardless.
And what about you? What are you throwing away?
I'm throwing away these streaming services who are hiking up prices on everybody, even though, unless you're living under a rock, there's not going to be any new content coming out after a few months. Like, they might have some stuff in the bank right now, and Lord knows that they'll have plenty of foreign stuff that they're, going to start putting up on their platforms to make up for it. But there are no new shows, and certainly all your favorite shows have no new seasons coming out anytime soon, because the writers have been on strike for 100 days and SAG has been on strike for a little over a month, or about a month. So the fact that they have the audacity to raise the prices on you, and more of these streaming services cracking down on password sharing, these rich multi-millionaires and billionaires and people who are causing the strike and stuff, they're literally laughing at you. That's what they're doing. When they raise their prices, they're laughing at you. They're trying to prove that they have all the power and that we don't have the power. So I'm throwing that out. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. Like, if you want to keep your streaming services and it's worth it to you to pay the extra money, like, by all means do it. I haven't just like shut down all of my streaming services, but I have canceled a couple, and a lot of it has to do with these price hikes, because why would I pay more for your product that is already unnecessary, because every single conglomerate has their own streaming service now, and now you're asking me to pay more? Yeah. That's not happening. So all I'm saying is that they're laughing at all of us. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at all of us when they say, "Ooh, because of extra, blah, 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 we have to raise it to, instead of $10.99 a month, starting in October, it'll be $13.99 a month," and blah, 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 inflation. Girl, inflation doesn't affect how much it costs you to host the streaming shit on the internet. And I don't know why you're charging more money. You're not making new shows. So anyway, I'm throwing that out.
Peacock just sent me a thing. Hey, we're going to be charging more. Hey, we're going to be doing this. I bought extra Paramount Plus. I added Showtime to Paramount Plus, paid a premium, and then like a month later, they were like, hey, guess what? Showtime's included in your Paramount Plus subscription now. Did I get a rebate on that? No. Pissed.
Yeah. Peacock, I canceled that one. I know you watch Peacock a lot. See, the thing is that everyone's going to have one that they watch the most, and you're just going to have to tolerate it. Mine is Hulu. You watch a lot of Peacock. Like Amazon Prime has us all by our balls, because if you use their Prime service in any capacity with your deliveries and stuff, you have their service. I don't know. Some of these other ones, I already threw out the concept of AMC Plus. Yeah. And then, Disney Plus is hiking their stuff up. Netflix is more expensive. There's a Netflix with ads now. They're just laughing at you guys. They're just laughing at all of us. That's all they're doing. Yeah. They're not going to take – these CEOs could take $1 million or so off of their salaries every year and lower the prices. For everyone. So one person could take less money per year to give everyone a lower price. But instead they're doing the opposite, while also putting all these unions on strike and putting a lot of people in Los Angeles out of jobs and running out of money. Yeah,
it's just a game of hungry hippos. Like, it's just like, I'm going to get all the money. I'm going to do this. And rich people have always been bad. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. But
yep.
Like the Vanderbilts, Carnegies, things like that. Like, they were taxed to the hilt, like 80-90% they were taxed. But they also had a strong sense of civic duty. They built libraries. They built public parks, endowments for X, Y, and Z. Stanford University, founded by some fucking, railroad magnate or something. But they did these things. They contributed to society, to the civic around them.
Well,
and these fucking people aren't doing that.
They are. Jeff Bezos is buying up entire neighborhoods of housing so that he can rent them to people who may have been able to buy them.
Oh, you're right. They are good people. Well,
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
they're buying giant amounts of the already limited available housing to rent to the people. So that's you know what, this isn't policy, and it's not even taxi.
Nope.
So I think it's just best that
Viva la revolution. Anyway, where can the people find you without a pitchfork and fire in your hand? You
find me here. You find me here, girl. Where do we find you?
At Iconic Erika Curry on Instagram and TikTok and Threads and all these other things. But you can find me here mostly. You can find this podcast at Trashy Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads. We're all over it. You can always go to our website, trashypodcast.com, and tell us why you're trash. Tell us a story. Send in a correction. We love that as well. We have a merch store, which is trashypodcast.threadless.com, where you can buy merch to support this podcast, as well as let the world know that you're a dumpster fire, that you're a baby trash can, things like that. So anyway, that's where you can find us. Use code TRASHY for all discounts. We are your number one source of trashy news, and we appreciate you listening. Tell a friend, share the podcast, be like, hey, this clip has talked about me. Or this is why these girls are such garbage. Hey, that girl I met in the restroom 8 years ago at a club, she has a podcast. You want to listen to it? Yeah, she's delusionally unfunny, but listen to it. Anyway, that's where you can find us. Hey, Cass.
What's going on, girl?
Stay garbage.
You stay garbage, girl.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.